Sydney Colson stands as the primary veteran leader, remaining on the Indiana Fever roster. While Natasha Howard maintains a presence on the team, her veteran influence appears limited primarily to interactions with Michaela Timpson, leaving Colson to shoulder the bulk of the leadership responsibilities for this franchise. During a recent interview, Colson addressed her role as the veteran presence for the Indiana Fever organization. The conversation revealed insights into the challenges facing the team throughout the current season. Only in 10 games, she's the only guard with triple-double. She had a 32, 9, and 8. She nearly had a 30-point triple-double in a win against the Liberty, who at that stage were undefeated. And they were healthy, by the way, and there was no slump in Sabrina Ionescu. Like, Sabrina Ionescu had 32, 34, and they still managed to win from Caitlin Clark. It is genuinely... Colson explained that significant challenges have plagued the organization from the season's opening, requiring her and other experienced players to focus on maintaining team stability and emotional balance. When questioned about establishing order and preserving calm during turbulent periods, her response highlighted the ongoing difficulties. This situation raises concerns about a franchise that previously demonstrated strong momentum while acknowledging current injury-related setbacks. The team showed resilience during previous seasons despite similar obstacles. The previous campaign saw extended absences from key players, including injuries to Kelsey Mitchell and other core contributors who competed while compromised physically. Despite these hardships, questions about locker room dynamics and veteran leadership weren't prevalent at this stage of that season. Adversity, because not only do you have the things on the court, but there's so much outside noise surrounding this franchise. Yeah, I think this, for me, is like that's almost like a microcosm move of life. And it's like whoever you are, and the current adversity proves particularly challenging given the team's focus on Caitlin Clark. When Clark faces difficulties, the impact extends beyond court performance due to the extensive external attention surrounding the franchise. Colson emphasized that basketball mirrors life experiences, with individual responses to adversity typically reflecting character both on and off the court. The approach involves maintaining authenticity while encouraging teammates to embrace similar principles. Coaching staff reinforces this message, acknowledging that while adversity creates discomfort, it also provides opportunities to develop resilience and determination that might otherwise remain untapped. These challenging moments reveal true character and drive, genuinely an unquestionable one that Caitlin Clark has been top 4 guides. And I think, is unquestionable when she's played the top 4 guide. I think if you wanted to not vote her in, if 50% of the media people did not vote Caitlin Clark in as an all-star, and their logic was she hasn't played enough games, and the 4 all-stars went. This approach bears resemblance to previous coaching philosophies under Stephanie White, where every situation became framed as a learning opportunity. While these responses represent appropriate public statements avoiding panic while maintaining professionalism, the repetitive nature of such messaging can become predictable. These are precisely the responses expected from veteran players who should provide vocal leadership within the locker room while contributing all necessary elements for championship success. The team benefits from several individuals who have experienced championship environments, understanding the requirements for sustained excellence and continued unified progress while maintaining positive energy rather than depleting it. Moments of adversity is usually who you are outside of the court too. And so I try to not change who I am, and we try to tell, the rest of the team, and that's what the coaches are trying to let us know. Like, adversity can suck sometimes, but it's also when you can get that grit that you need to come out of a group that maybe wasn't or you start to really see if you got the character, if you have the drive. The situation suggests the Fever organization may have committed a common organizational error. Colson undoubtedly possesses extensive veteran credentials demonstrated through various leadership qualities. Her references to championship experience and locker room dynamics, along with veteran players establishing cultural standards, reflect genuine leadership efforts. While these veteran contributions aren't inherently problematic, examples like the Oklahoma City Thunder demonstrate the value of organic team development. The criticism here targets front office decisions rather than the veteran players themselves. The organization's apparent emphasis on prioritizing veteran acquisitions may contribute to, or has already caused, the deterioration of the locker room culture they previously established. Alicia Gray Like, has Sabrina, Kane isn't better than Sabrina. Up to this point, like, Sabrina has had as many stinkers as Caitlin. No, I'll still go Sabrina. Purely based on the fact that Caitlin's played more games, I'll go Caitlin over Sabrina, but it's close. And I'll go Sabrina over Caitlin. Or it's Sabrina's played more games. But at the end of the day, like, Alicia Gray is the only guy that I think no ifs, fans or buts about it, you put above Caitlin Clark. The franchise had successfully built authentic team chemistry and camaraderie, but external factors appear to be affecting the locker room atmosphere this season. The previous season's focus on protecting the locker room proved largely successful, with the organization demonstrating exceptional commitment to maintaining internal harmony. The veteran players played crucial roles in that success. Colson faces the challenging task of integrating into an established culture without fully understanding the Indiana Fever's specific dynamics, veteran relationships, or locker room expectation. Rather than recognizing the unique characteristics of this particular environment, the assumption may have been that standard championship locker room approaches would suffice. However, this locker room requires equal attention to off-court and on-court elements. Recent social media incidents involving Damaris Dantas highlight the challenges, with her engaging in public disputes with content creators and responding to direct messages. While understanding the temptation to respond to online criticism, such public confrontations suggest underlying frustration. The position remains clear. Players uncommitted to the organization should seek opportunities elsewhere. There's no value in retaining individuals who lack dedication to the team's mission. The disappointment lies in Dantas receiving her desired outcome, while the Fever organization failed to extract meaningful value from the situation. The organization does possess contracts to potentially acquire players like Valerian Oyai and possibly other international talent, though the likelihood of attracting ring-chasing veterans remains questionable given current circumstances. Her team's been better, and she's about least comparable on the stat sheet. Skylar Diggins is debatable. Taylor McBride, no, she missed the first 6 games of the season. Kayla McBride, no. Courtney Williams, no. Chelsea Gray, no. Jackie Young, no. Kelsey Plum, hell no. Ariel Atkins, no. I'll try this list off like guards, and if you look at the top teams, if Alyssa Thomas was in the guard category, yes, Colson should prove valuable as a veteran presence, offering the type of leadership teammates appreciate. Following Erica Wheeler's departure, the team desperately needed veteran stability, and Colson provides that calming influence crucial for long-term success. The immediate challenge involves the adjustment period required for effective integration. Wheeler needed approximately half a season to understand the locker room dynamics and establish her leadership role, with the team truly coalescing around June or July of the previous campaign. The situation presents complexity regarding the Fever's decisions, creating difficult circumstances for incoming leaders who lack complete understanding of the organizational culture they're entering. The front office's off-season management appears problematic, creating unnecessary obstacles for the franchise's continued development. The media's decision to select Caitlin Clark for the WNBA All-Star team has sparked significant controversy among opposing fan bases. This outcome was entirely predictable given the voting patterns and Clark's performance metrics throughout the season. When examining Clark's on-court contributions, she has consistently performed as the premier guard in the league during her active games. While her superiority over players like Skylar Diggins isn't overwhelming, her statistical output and impact remain superior to other guards in the competition. Even during her challenging stretch, Clark managed to record a 20-point, 10-assist performance. Thomas, in my opinion right now, is my tip for MVP because Fee has already missed 4 or 5 games, and I think she's going to end up missing a couple because it's a lingering back issue. So, AT is my pick for MVP right now. But at the same time, these journalists that are making this vote, they're getting abused. They are getting abused, and like, you don't even have to like the journalists. And by the way, I think it's a position where I don't care if a journalist doesn't vote for Caitlin Clark. Clark holds the record for most 20-point, 10-assist games and stands as the only guard to achieve a triple-double this season. Her remarkable 32-point, 9-assist performance came in a victory against the previously undefeated Liberty team, who were at full strength despite Sabrina Ionescu's impressive 32-34-point outputs. Clark's team emerged victorious in that matchup. The argument for Clark's inclusion among the top 4 guards appears undeniable based on her active playing time. Critics who oppose her selection often cite insufficient games played, but this reasoning becomes questionable when comparing her to alternatives like Alicia Gray. Between Clark and Sabrina Ionescu, both players have experienced inconsistent performances. Clark edges ahead due to playing more games, though the margin remains narrow. Ionescu could potentially claim the advantage if game participation were the primary factor, but overall production favors Clark a lot of the things, and I genuinely, Colson being like, a lot of us have championship experience, talking at the locker room, and like, that the older players are trying to basically set those kind of locker room dynamics. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with that, but we've seen from the Oklahoma City Thunder that there is merit. Alicia Gray represents the only guard who clearly surpasses Clark without debate. Ray's team success combined with comparable individual statistics makes her selection unquestionable. Other guards like Skylar Diggins present debatable cases, while players such as Kayla McBride, who missed 6 early games, Courtney Williams, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, and Ariel Atkins don't present compelling arguments over Clark. If Alyssa Thomas were classified as a guard, she would warrant consideration for MVP honors, particularly given that other MVP candidates have missed multiple games due to lingering injuries. However, Thomas operates in different positional category. The journalists casting these votes face intense harassment from disappointed fan bases. This abuse stems from supporters whose preferred players didn't receive All-Star recognition. Many critics have gravitated toward supporting Paige Bueckers as an alternative to Clark. The Bueckers versus Clark debate presents interesting dynamics. Bueckers' team has struggled more than Clark's, with both players missing similar numbers of games. Clark's 6, Bueckers' 5 following recent contests. Despite playing fewer games, Clark's team has achieved more victories. Statistically, Clark holds advantages in most categories, including scoring averages and efficiency metrics. Partly due to her increased three-point attempts, reasonable arguments exist for selecting either player, and some Connecticut-affiliated media members have chosen Bueckers without creating controversy. Both players have missed significant time, and Clark has experienced consecutive poor performances, though she remained effective in most games outside specific matchups like Golden State. Even in the Las Vegas game where she struggled, she performed well in Seattle and dominated the first half against Las Vegas before missing shot or 2 growing as a team. And I think this is not a knock on. This is genuinely not a knock on the vets that are there. This is a knock on the front office. I think that them going out of their way to prioritize only vets is going to lead to, if not already led to, the downfall of The All-Star voting situation presents valid cases for both including and excluding Clark. However, omitting Alicia Gray would constitute a genuine oversight. Many argue that Skylar Diggins' absence represents an injustice, though her team's performance and her own inconsistent games provide counter-arguments. The harassment directed at media voters reflects fans' frustration over their preferred players' exclusion. These critics often demonstrate contradictory behavior by discussing Clark more frequently than their supposed favorites like Angel Reese, revealing their true priorities. The rivalry between Clark and Bueckers mirrors classic sports competitions like Ronaldo Messi or LeBron Jordan. While fan bases engage in hostile online debates, the actual players maintain respectful, purely competitive relationships as former USA basketball teammates who interact cordially in non-basketball settings. Supporters of other players have aligned themselves with Bueckers as their preferred alternative, which represents a strategic choice given Bueckers' exceptional abilities. However, Clark appears positioned to emerge as the superior player long-term, potentially becoming the greatest point guard in WNBA history when considering peak performance levels. Of this kind of locker room that they'd built, it was like they had built a legitimate locker room, and they'd built a kind of camaraderie, and it seems like it doesn't even seem like true fault to the players, but as much as great to see Colson is, that I have no doubt to see Colson's a good locker room presence. But you can see from the Buckers may eventually transition to shooting guard, where her skills might be better utilized. Her off-ball movement and screen work excel in that position, while her point guard abilities suit motion offense systems that rarely appear in professional basketball. Professional leagues struggle with motion offenses because individual statistics directly impact player salaries, creating natural selfishness that undermines team-oriented systems. Buckers could succeed as a point guard in motion-based systems, but traditional professional offenses favor quick sets and defined roles where she projects better as a shooting guard. The ultimate comparison will determine the superior point guard, with Clark likely establishing dominance within 2 years. Even opposing coaches and players acknowledge Clark's impact. Following games where Clark struggled statistically, opponents like Noelle Quinn and Skylar Diggins emphasized the difficulty of containing her playmaking abilities. They recognize that stopping Clark requires significant defensive attention, often allowing teammates like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell to excel. Clark's court vision and leadership qualities make her the league's premier point guard by considerable margins. While Buckers excels at both positions, Clark's limitations as a shooting guard contrast with her exceptional point guard skills, making her historically great at her natural position. The controversy surrounding media members' all-star selections reflects broader dynamics within WNBA fandom. Clark's inclusion appears justified based on performance metrics, and the league benefits from her participation given her drawing power and fan engagement. Questions remain about whether player voting will support Clark's selection among the top tier. If media voting places her in the top 3 or 4, she becomes a starter and captain unless players rank her significantly lower.